Hi everyone, welcome back. Thank you so much for joining me today. So I have a transparent funnel, so I'm going to be doing a funnel pour on this canvas. It's a repurposed canvas. It's a creation that I liked at the time, but on reflection, I'm happy to paint over it. So I've gessoed over the top. It's prepared, ready to pour again. I am using Jackson's acrylic paint mixed with some pouring medium and water. I've made this one a little bit more fluid, so that's why I've added a little bit more water, only half part, but I will talk about all my ratios and I'm going to take you down now to see the colour palette. It's a vibrant palette, it's going to be fun. I don't know how it's going to turn out once it's layered in the funnel, but that's all part of the experimentation. And that's how we can really evolve as artists, by experimenting and just trying to see what happens. I'm excited for this. I'm so pleased you're here too. Let's see what we can create. Okay, so that's my canvas there. There was something underneath, but I have prepared it to allow me to pour over the top of it. I've got my funnel and here are my colours. So I'm using Jackson's acrylic paint. You can see I've got a gold, a silver, a blue, a green, an orange and a crimson, and I've mixed it with some pouring medium, but I've also added some water to this. So let me just show you the consistencies. So there's the silver, the gold, the blue, the green, the orange, the crimson, and I've had some leftover black and white, so I've just mixed it up into a grey. But you can see very, very fluid, runs off the spatula, doesn't leave any trace. Let me try not to get a shadow in that so you can see. Doesn't leave any trace, just disappears. And that's the same with all of these paints. This grey that I've mixed up, I'm probably going to be using a bit more as a flow extender for this one, just so I don't waste any of my paints. But yeah, so you can just see it's very, very fluid. I'm excited for this. I've got my canvas. Let's go. I've shown you the colours, but I forgot to talk about the ratios. So these are the paints that I'm using. This is the pouring medium that I'm using. You can see it's very fluid. So I am using 1 part paint, 4 parts pouring medium, half part water. So 1 part paint, 4 parts pouring medium, half part water. And that's what creates this fluidity using these paints. But if you're using a different brand, then please just test your ratios and see what works for you. So that grey colour that I've made, just by mixing the black and white together, I'm placing in the middle of the canvas. And that puddle there is where I'm going to rest the funnel on top. So as you can see, it's just a transparent funnel, and you'll be able to see how I layer my colours. So I'm just going to take 1 colour at a time, and I'm going to place that paint inside the funnel. I'm holding the funnel to one side. I want to create that vacuum between that kind of grey puddle on the canvas and those colours that I'm now adding within the funnel, because I want to be able to release that paint as I go. So I'm going to just take 1 colour at a time, place that paint inside the funnel, and then we'll continue with the process. Okay, so let's release some of this paint. I'm just going to take both hands and I'm just going to lift the funnel up and down, up and down. And you'll see as I move the funnel upwards, it leaves the canvas and then the paint can escape from underneath. So I've done that once and I'm going to do it again. I'm going to take 1 colour at a time, place those paints within the funnel, just layering 1 colour on top of another, and then release the paint by moving the funnel up and down, up and down. And you'll see that those colours will then spread across this canvas. And because of the paints that I'm using today and the consistency, I'm not expecting any kind of cell reaction here. I want to keep block colour within this creation and this technique. So that's exactly what I'm doing because of the consistency of the paints that we're using. So again, just to reiterate, one colour at a time in the funnel, and then to escape that paint, just lift it up and down, and you'll see that it moves from that funnel onto the canvas. So I'm just using my torch to pop any air bubbles. I'll just take you in now just so you can see. But I know because of that volume of paint that I've used and the way that I layered my colours, there's a lot of colour in that puddle. So the idea now is to pick up the canvas and I'm going to tilt it from side to side, starting off by tilting it in a circular motion. And as I do that, I'm starting to stretch that paint out. I'm opening up those colours, and you can see how that transforms here on my canvas because I'm literally just stretching that paint. So I am going to add a little bit more paint around the edge of this circle. It's just to help with the flow of that paint in the middle. So you might have heard me before talking about a flow extender. So if you've got some spare paint that you're not using for a particular creation that you've scooped up from your table, you can use it in this instance. It's just to help the flow of the paint that we've already got flow across that full surface area. So the colours that I'm now adding aren't really going to add to the pattern or the creation that we're trying to stretch out. It's acting as a liquid, as a formula to help stretch the paint that's already there. It's going to help that paint that's already there flow across that canvas because it's about ensuring that there's enough fluidity and volume of paint to stretch it out. But just have a look how this transforms. See how those colours really open up because there's enough volume here now to stretch that paint out that we've got. Really loving the composition of this one. So I'm just going to add a little bit more paint here in this corner because I want that to flow right to the edge without kind of distorting that pattern that I've already got. So I've just added a little bit more paint to that corner and I'm now going to tilt the canvas quite a sharp angle to allow that paint to travel, and it's about pushing that completely down the sides, down the edges, And I really can't wait to take you in for a closer look because the colours that I can see are amazing, how they kind of just sit underneath those other colours. In fact, you can see the vibrancy of some of it just there. Let me take you in now for a closer look of the wet version. I will place this to one side to dry. It'll probably take a couple of days to dry at room temperature, and then I'll show you the dry version. And here's the dry version. As I take you in closer, you'll be able to see all those colours. And because I'm not really used to using this pouring medium or these paints, it's always such a great surprise when you find a new paint or brand or pouring medium that you know that you're going to be able to work well with. And this one leaves like a glossy finish. So I'm really happy that I've discovered this. I love the depth to this piece. Those colours that were layered one on top of the other and then poured out and stretched out across that canvas has enabled me to create this kind of design where you can see those layers and that depth to this piece. I've had so much fun doing this, and I'm definitely going to experiment more with the funnel in the future. I hope you're having a great week, whatever you're up to, and thank you again for joining me today. And I really do hope I get to see you again in the next video. Take care, everyone, and I'll see you soon. Bye.